Hello, everybody. Cross-dressing has become the norm of the day. If I would want to use that word, it has become something very common. Everybody now want to, wear dresses that, or dresses or ornament or, shoes, make hairs or carve their hairs in a way that, it favors the opposite gender. I don't know if I'm using the right word. Okay, so literally today we'll be looking at cross-dressing in contemporary society, right? So we don't really know what is bringing this up. Now, literally, the definitions for this very word cross-dressing is open, because I cannot give you a specific definition because we all have our own individual ideas regarding what that meant. But then, my own definition on it is, where the let's say the female gender decides to wear something that pertains to a man, or where men are more comfortable dressing like women. So today we'll be looking into this very topic critically to understand what exactly is going on, to see if something is springing it up, or it's just a wave and that will pass in the nearest time. So with me in the studio today are two very lovely people that are going to be helping us talk about this very topic. We'll begin with the lady, of course, ladies first. So I have with me Miss Promise. All right, Miss Promise is an actor. It's very nice to meet you.
Thank you very much.
You care introducing yourself?
Okay, I'm Promsy, so that's my stage name. So I'm known by Promsy, an actor. I stay in Togo, and aside that too, I'm a tourist guide too.
All right then.
It's nice to be on your show today.
Thank you very much. By the way, she's been here before. All right, so this is like her second time coming. Thank you very much for joining us. Okay.
My pleasure.
All right then. And then we have Mr. I'm sorry, help me.
Emmanuel.
Mr. Emmanuel, exactly. Emmanuel what, sorry?
Emmanuel Agbenosi.
Right. What do you do?
So I'm a researcher. So I'm an internet governance and policy researcher.
Okay.
So I'm currently a PhD student.
All right.
Yeah.
It's very nice having you here today, right? Thank you guys very much for coming. Now, please, everybody should project when you are talking. I don't want to say shout, but talk so we can hear you. You get? Like, you guys should project so we can hear you. Now, giving an open definition for what cross-dressing is, right? We've started with understanding, I gave my own definition, so I'm not going to begin asking you guys what is your definition, individual definitions of it. That would be like wasting time. So let's just go direct into the whole thing. So I'll begin with you, sir. How do you think society's idea of masculinity affects men who cross-dress?
I'll speak for the African society because I think we are more conservative society, and masculinity is often seen as how do you call it, a cultural kind of expectation of leadership from a man, of somebody who have to provide for his family, somebody who have that how do you call it, challenges of taking care of a family. So usually when we're talking about cross-dressing, he actually take that masculinity out of the person. That's how the African society perceive that person, because the masculinity for them is strength. Is somebody who is masculine. Let me use the word like that. So the moment the person start cross-dressing like a woman in our African society, I think he loses mostly that expectation, or that how do you call it, respect for a man that people usually have for the person. Oh yes, because
so haven't you seen, there are this okay, so we are talking about contemporary society, but then in the Western country, I'm sorry, I'll have to bring in the West. The dresses you wear, and as a man, it's like skirt. I've forgotten the names for it.
The Scotsman.
Yeah, the Scottish man.
Yes.
The Scottish dress. Like he dresses with suits up here, and then there's this skirt, and then he looks good.
Exactly.
So would you tell me that it sees him to be
usually in African society? And let me speak African society. Though I live in France and I live in that society and I know exactly what you're talking about. But if you take the African society, usually when people cross-dress, it's for ceremonies. You see the person, he will cross-dress for a particular ceremony. Usually the gatekeepers, how do you call it? When I say gatekeeper, people who actually keep the gate between our world and the other world, those kind of people, the world laws, those kind of people, they cross-dress. We have seen them. Or when they are, like cultural activities, people cross-dress to dance. We have seen some in Uganda, in Kenya. They are very popular, shaking their boots and those kind of things.
So basically what you're saying is there's a reason why
the cross-dressing, there's a reason. It's not a lifestyle for Africans.
Okay.
But when you go to the Western world, as you said, it look very nice to see those quote-unquote says, in the British, how do you call it, society, wearing that kind of dress, and it look nice. If you go to India, you see the same thing. If you go to Tanzania, you see the same thing. Or they even use sometime, how do you call it, the print, local print, dressing like a woman completely, and that kind of thing. But they don't do it in their daily life. That's not the expectation society.
All right. Now, Miss Promise, there's something he said that I believe you heard.
Yeah.
Okay. He said something like, as a man in Africa, right? Once you begin to dress or you begin to wear women's ornaments,
it makes you less of a man.
It makes you, literally,
it takes your masculinity.
It takes your masculinity, or better still, or in simple put, it makes you less of a man. So, do you agree with this?
At a point, no.
Okay. Yeah, so not completely, basically.
Yes.
All right.
Because cross-dressing, to me, it's a way, it's fashion, a way of expressing oneself. So that I, as a man, decide to put on a female clothes does not make me less of a man. What it make me to do what my fellow men are not doing? No, it's not so. That I decide to wear skirts and blouse today shouldn't make, when they call the man, I will come out as a man. I'm not a female. Just I'm dressed differently from the way you are dressed. But as I said, because we're in Africa, there's this mentality that once you are like this is who you are, and you are this way. But it shouldn't be so. One should be allowed to express him or herself differently the way you deem right. Because it's an individual choice, not, we shouldn't go by what the mass think or what society thinks about you. But what do I think about myself? Are you comfortable in it? Once you're comfortable, you're good to go. So
basically your point is it has more to do with comfortability.
Yes.
Okay, not it being less.
And then your style.
Your style.
Yeah.
All right then. My question for you is, what are the thoughts on women cross-dressing, on gender dynamic? Before you answer this very question, there was something we were saying off camera. And I was telling you guys that there's a way we'll talk about this. It would sort of hurt me. Because I was explaining something to you of the fact that I grew up literally around my granny.
Yeah.
And she's this kind of person that, Igbo people there's something that they call, they will tell you, chalk bag, cover your leg. Hey, you dig it? So there's a way that you would sit and open your legs. You say, you just don't get tie up by anyhow. Do you get? So literally she will tell you, close yourself. So she felt more comfy, me dressing with trousers on, because she felt it protected me as a lady, covered myself and all that. So, back to your question. That was just a drift. That's it.
Talking about lady dynamics in cross-dressing.
Right.
For me, when you bring a man and a woman together, it's two different worlds altogether. A woman feels more comfortable when she wears a male clothes than a female clothes. But when a man puts on a female clothes, it's weird. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to see. A lady wearing trousers, putting on big shirt and cap. A man will say, wow, you look beautiful, that's nice. But the other way around, it's weird. So in a lady's world, it's more easier and more acceptable for we as ladies to dress like a man than a man dressing like a lady.
Okay. I want to ask you this question.
Go ahead.
Is cross-dressing sexual?
That's how society perceives it. In Africa, you said something very interesting. You grew up with your granny, where if you take Togolese, for example, and I had that cultural shock the first time I arrived in Ghana, for example, where women usually, even at old age, wear men dresses. to go to work, to go to church. But in Togo, usually, you see the person with a local print.
Yeah.
So that's a cultural shock. Because in our society, for example, as a Togolese society, for example, there's a certain way where it's like there are boxes where everybody have to fit in. If you are a woman, this is how you have to dress. Because why? Society actually decide on most of the things. If you are going to get married, that family may perceive you as a woman, if you dress as a woman, that kind of thing. So there's all those pressure, even in your own family, because they already perceive that, okay, if I let my girl grow like this, with this same behavior of dressing, of this kind of lifestyle, it may be difficult for her to get accepted in another family or in the society. So as she said it rightly, women feel comfortable today dressing in men outfits.
But what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you see a lady dressed like a man?
It doesn't shock me. It doesn't shock me. But for example, it doesn't shock me at all. It doesn't shock me. It doesn't shock me at all. Depends. I'm coming. It depends. Let me explain. Let me explain. If the person, for example, dress, let's say, she has her hair, like the hair she has right now, and she's wearing a trouser, wearing a t-shirt or whatever it is. It looks normal.
It's normal.
But maybe the moment she's having a man haircut, let me put it that way, she's having a man haircut, a man watch, dressing like a man, maybe with even a tie. At that moment, it becomes shocking.
Okay.
You get my point?
No. The thing is, we don't even wear ties.
No, I know. I'm just giving an example.
Okay.
I'm going the extreme. I'm going the extreme. I'm going the extreme so that you get what I mean.
Right.
But for example, the moment you see a man dressing with a skirt,
automatically,
like in Lomé, imagine you go out right now, see that gentleman wearing a skirt with maybe heel.
Call him.
Exactly. So you notice that, for example, women in our society don't fight for that right of wearing men's clothes.
Okay, sorry.
But men today are fighting for that right. The moment people start fighting for the right, it means society is not accepting it.
All right then. So I asked him if it's sexual. Now, I'm going to rephrase the question. When you see a lady dressed like a man, be honest, like the first thing that comes to your mind when you see a girl that is dressed like a man, what's the first thing that comes to your head? No lie. This one that she's like, that means she wants to cook up like.
No, to be honest, before I answer this question,
right,
I want to bring in my school life into this. I'm this person, I have a free mind. I don't actually think negative.
Right.
So there was this girl in my school. All the time she always put on my old clothes, and I was like, it's like this girl, a tomboy like me. But in natural sense, she was not a tomboy. She was something else.
Okay.
She was not into the opposite sex. She does her fellow gender. So now those who are in the same line of action with her, once they see her, in this our line, she is the man in this line.
Okay.
So for me, once I see you, because of this experience, otherwise then my sister.
So in a way,
you understand. I don't want to mention it.
Right. So in a way, it's sexual.
It's sexual.
In a way. All right then. Okay then. That's
now. Bring back to that question now. There was this interview I saw on TikTok. It was two ladies who were getting married. Now when you see the man among these two ladies, she is a man. When I mean she is a man, her dressing.
Yeah.
Wow, this is my husband. You're looking at the person. This is my fellow gender, but it's not. But looking at her dressing, she's a man.
You accept it.
Right,
do you understand?
It's fine. So, Mr. Emmanuel, to you, can cross-dressing help men feel comfortable expressing themselves?
Depend. As she said, depend on every human being. If somebody was born, people are born men like this, but they feel more comfortable. Wearing women dress, and he may have reasons. Maybe he was born like that. Maybe he grew up with women. I remember, I grew up with my sister, and she was my elder sister, And those days, I was even trying makeup. You know that kind of thing, because you see her doing it.
That's my brother.
You don't have you don't have a fellow. And if you have a man who grew up among women like that, in his adult life, it will be difficult for him. And let me give you this example. It's funny because when I was 11, I was somewhere around Nikonakwe, and with fellow boys. It was vacation time, and we got some money, and we are about to go back to school. So we decided to go to Générale to buy some clothes. And those days, in my house, my parents were not allowing me to wear jean because they think that people wearing jean are not obedient.
Okay.
So, I mean, you dress like that church boy, that kind of thing. So I decided to buy my first jean with my own money. And we arrived in Générale. I was 11 years old. Everybody bought his things. And you know what happened? I bought that jean and I put it in my bag. When I returned to school, we are having these cultural performances at school and that kind of thing. So I removed my wax print, put in the bag, wear my jean. But believe me, you know what kind of jean I bought? I bought a jean with a flower on the pocket. I will never forget this because the same boys, same age, when they saw me, they start laughing. Because a man doesn't wear a jean with flowers. You get it?
Right.
But for me, it looked nice.
Right.
And because I grew up with women and everything is like girly, I end up buying my first jean, with flowers. Right. So, for me, depend on the setting in which the person actually grew up in. And in some countries, for example, they actually rush into judgment. Okay. Let me give you a basic example. In Cameroon, they arrested this lady, I don't want to offend her. She's a transgender. And the police arrested her, or him, with a friend. And both of them were actually wearing a wig. Just because of the wig, they were arrested, put in jail, went to court because police said that they suspect them being gay. So if you take African society in countries where gay laws are very strict, you can face that because they didn't arrest them having sex or doing anything.
They
just dress. Okay. And police say, we suspect you for being gay. And it's against the law, so we have to protect the society. That's our role. And they put them in jail. Yeah. Today he's in exile in Belgium. So there are societies like that. If you go to Uganda, it's the same thing. But if you go to countries like South Africa, where they have that independence of choosing your gender you want.
It's almost accepted.
So it's almost accepted.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much. Now, Ms. Promise, there's a question that I want to ask, right? What do you think brought about the surge to this rise in cross-dressing? Hold on. The reason I'm asking you this question is he made mention of some recent arrests and all that. It has become a trend in the society currently. And the social media is promoting it. There are literal influencers, I don't want to call names, that cross-dress. Yeah. We don't know why, probably to make money or just to suit themselves. We can't really give an actual reason as to why they choose to do this. I'm going to come down to the psychological perspective to you later. But then, what do you think what do you think sprang up this?
For me, first, it's time. Times and seasons are changing. So once the times are changing, trends are changing. 2, social media. Right. And 3, let me put it this way, maybe not everybody, but most people is money. In our world now, do the right thing, you don't make money. But do the wrong thing, that's where the money is coming from. I decided to dress like a man today, just put on a video out there. 1,000 views, 10,000 views. Maybe my video doesn't make sense, but because of the way I'm dressed, just as Mr. Manon now, just put on skirt and bra, come online, say something, check 1 hour. That video will be hitting 1 million. Because he's dressed like a female. Now what he's saying, we are not interested. But you just see the kind of clothes he's wearing. Let me check next week what is going to put on next week. That is it. And 2, the society now promotes let me excuse me to use the word negative trend than positive word trend. Now because you have someone who you are looking up to, right? How would I use the word? As a role model. So because your role model is doing this, then I also should do this. But without asking yourself, why is my role model doing this? Now, I don't want to mention names. There is this person, our he, she. Do you understand? Come online. He's a he, she. But go to his house, he's a he in his house. He, she cannot go to the father's house dressed as a he, she. He, she will not try it. Why? Because when he wants to get there, we are not accepted. But because I'm in my private space, right, I'll do this thing. But when I'm going to these certain places, I wouldn't do this. So therefore, when it comes to society, come online, we accept it. But in their private lives, most of them don't do this. So this is where the misconception comes on. Now, what you see on the media is not really the way it is out there. Okay, I actually saw an interview. We were asked when you came on the spotlight, you were dressing this way. We said yes, I wanted to sell my market, and now I'm popular. I know do am again. That was the word. As in now, why have the audience I'm looking for? I've gotten it. I know do am again. But now someone will not be like, because she did it, then I'm not going to do it. Have you asked what's the intent behind this person doing this? That should be the number one question you ask yourself. Thank you.
All right then. Thank you very much. Now, I'm going to ask you what's the psychological effect or impact of this cross-dressing? It is not the dressing like a man, dressing like a woman, that's the problem. What is the lasting effect or impact on that individual that begins to dress like a man?
So, when you dress right now yourself as an individual, I remember there are days like that when I wake up in the morning, I wear my suit, put a good perfume, I feel confident. You know, you go to the office, you greet everybody. When everybody tells you, oh, you smell good, you look very good, you're sharp. Right. You have that confidence in you. But imagine if I go to the office wearing a skirt. People will be laughing. I will be a curiosity for people. But do I feel comfortable in it? No. That's why I'm saying that it depends on the society in which the person is.
I don't think
that psychological effect you are mentioning, for example, if the person, I know a lot of people today.
Does it, a long run, begin to make a man begin to act like a woman?
It can be.
Okay.
It can be.
That's the psychological effect.
It can be in some way, because you know, when you start doing something and people, as she said, for example, you start dressing like a woman and doing videos. I don't want to mention platforms, but it's going viral all the time. You know, you start going extreme. When you are going the extreme, you meet the extreme. You will love it, and you stay there. So, I know people like that. So they think that's a joke. You know, oh, don't worry, it's my friends, I love them. But those people today, they have actually
gone overboard.
They are very far, because they start loving what they're doing. They start loving that kind of lifestyle, dressing. So
I'm sorry. So do you think, I'm sorry, we're almost done.
Yes.
My time is limited, so I'm trying to see if we could get some stuff. Now, do you think some of these people that are, into this same-sex kind of thing, kind of like started from this lifestyle of cross-dressing?
For me, same-sex and cross-dressing comes from two different backgrounds.
Okay.
Now, when we talk about cross-dressing leads to transgender.
Okay.
Because once I start dressing like a lady and I'm a man, the next thing is, wow, I need to get some boobs there.
And you now begin to cut.
Not really cut, because I like this.
Because some people go through the extreme.
No, not cutting, because these are topics I like going through. So they just 2 days ago on a particular platform. So this when I saw her face, I thought she was a female like me. It was now when I listened to the interview, she was not like that. Drugs that she used, 70k naira, and she buys 4. That's different. One for boobs, one for the hormones. Now this for 70k, 21 days, you need to get another one again.
And some of them go to the extreme of going for surgery.
Exactly.
Surgery.
I think that's where she's getting to.
So because I'm doing this and I feel I'm comfortable, then I need to go overboard, thereby trying to be like the other sex. Now coming to the same sex, most times trauma do put through that. Like I always say, I have this channel where I counsel young people. So there was this girl, she's like a daughter to me. So then her friends told me that, why this girl is doing this? And I said, I had to call her. So when I called her, she was like, what happened? She said her own dad is abusing her. So for that reason, she hates anything that is called male gender. She doesn't want to see them with eyes. Now, like, who did you speak to? Who did you talk to? She said, I told my mom, but my mom said it's not true. I said, I now have to take out my time to actually reorient, change that mindset that no, that is doing doesn't mean every other male out there is this way. So imagine she didn't fall into the right hand, and it was someone who was also in that line of business or line of lifestyle. It's like, well, you're good to go, you are welcome. And someone will tell you pregnancy, I don't want to get pregnant though. Let me do it.
All right then, so we are like far behind schedule already. I'm going to have to do the summary or the wrap up regarding this. Basically, what everybody is trying to say in the studio today is there's a reason for every action. If you're doing it for fashion, it's good. But then there are reasons why people go extreme. Could be for abuse, like Miss Promise mentioned, and a whole lot of other things. So I think the word there is you defining why you're doing it. So we are not really countering it to say it's bad per se, because you won't tell me that fashion is bad. Some people do it just to feel comfy with themselves. So it depends on how or the reason as to why you're doing it. Now, I am EJ. I'm the host for the show, and you guys shouldn't forget to follow the lifestyle playlist on New World TV. Don't always forget to like, subscribe, and keep sharing. Thank you very much, Miss Promise, for coming.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you came today. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel.
Thank you very much.
Until we come your way next week, stay blessed, stay safe. Plenty love from me to you. Mwah. Bye-bye.